This is the core question. I'm assessing your understanding of the Sklearn base OutlierMixin class, a crucial part of the Sklearn library in Python. We'll look at each answer to see if it's true. Let's dive in. This statement is incorrect. OutlierMixin is not a concrete class. It's a MIXIN class. Mixins add functionality to other classes without being used as a direct parent class. Think of it as a helper. It doesn't implement outlier detection algorithms itself, rather, it provides a structure that other classes can use to implement their outlier detection. This is correct. OutlierMixin provides a common interface, which means different outlier detection algorithms using it will behave in a similar predictable way, making them easier to work with within the wider Sklearn ecosystem. This is also correct. Any class that uses OutlierMixin must implement the fit and predict methods. Fit is for training the model, and predict is for labeling data points as outliers or not. This ensures consistency and usability. Nope, this is incorrect. OutlierMixin doesn't automatically do any data preprocessing. You'll have to handle scaling and preprocessing your data before you use it with an outlier detection method that uses OutlierMixin. OutlierMixin is a special kind of class in Python. It's like a toolbox filled with useful functions that you can add to other classes. It doesn't stand alone. Instead, I use it to give other classes extra capabilities. Think of it like adding extra features to a car. You don't replace the car. You enhance it. This refers to how different parts of a program interact. OutlierMixin provides a standard way for outlier detection algorithms to communicate with other components in Sklearn. It ensures that everything fits together neatly and that each algorithm behaves predictably. I can think of it as a common language, ensuring that all parts of the system can understand each other. I use OutlierMixin to expand what a class can do. It's not a complete algorithm by itself. It provides tools, methods, for outlier detection. I can add its methods to other classes to improve their functionality. You know, like extending a house with an extra room. This means OutlierMixin itself doesn't do the outlier detection work. Instead, it defines which methods, functions, other classes must provide to work with it. These methods, like fit for training, and predict for making predictions, are essential for any outlier detection algorithm. I'm responsible for providing these in my algorithm. I will say this is a special type of class in the Sklearn library. It's not a standalone algorithm but rather a blueprint that provides the structure for other classes to implement outlier detection capabilities. It acts as an interface. It defines which methods a class needs for consistent outlier detection within Sklearn. I see OutlierMixin as a helpful tool in Sklearn. It's not an outlier detection algorithm itself, but rather a blueprint. Think of it like a recipe template. It provides the basic structure and expected ingredients, methods like fit and predict but you still need to fill in the details with a specific recipe, an actual outlier detection algorithm, to make a complete dish. It ensures that different outlier detection algorithms can play nicely together by adhering to a common standard. This question tests your understanding of what OutlierMixin does in Sklearn. We'll examine each statement to determine if it accurately describes OutlierMixin's role. Yes, any class using OutlierMixin must provide its own implementations of the fit and predict methods. Fit is where the algorithm learns from the data, and predict is where it makes predictions about which data points are outliers. OutlierMixin simply requires these methods to be there. It doesn't provide them itself. Absolutely, that's the core function of OutlierMixin. It's an interface, meaning it standardizes how different outlier detection algorithms are used. This ensures they can work seamlessly with other parts of Sklearn and maintain a consistent way to interact with the library. Nope, OutlierMixin itself is not a complete, ready-to-use algorithm. It's more of a template that needs to be combined with a concrete outlier detection algorithm to become fully functional. Think of it as a skeleton that requires muscles and organs, the actual algorithm, to work properly. Incorrect. OutlierMixin focuses only on the standard interface. Data scaling and preprocessing are separate steps that need to be done before using an outlier detection algorithm. OutlierMixin won't automatically handle that. You'll need other scikit-learn tools for that. This refers to a specific class within the scikit-learn library. Scikit-learn is a popular Python library for machine learning. The OutlierMixin is a special kind of class that doesn't directly perform outlier detection itself, but provides a blueprint for other classes that do. Yes, it does. I see it as a common set of rules and methods for classes dealing with outlier detection, ensuring that these classes can work smoothly together and are consistent in how they operate within scikit-learn. Yes, that's correct. Any class using the OutlierMixin needs to define how it fits the model to data fit method, and how it then uses that model to predict whether something is an outlier predict method. Think of fit as training and predict as testing. No, it doesn't. Data scaling and preprocessing, like preparing data by adjusting the ranges of values, is usually done separately before using OutlierMixin based classes. OutlierMixin focuses only on the outlier detection aspect itself. No, it's more like a template or a blueprint. It describes what methods a concrete outlier detection class should have but doesn't actually implement the detection methods on its own. I see that line refers to the overall topic, the OutlierMixin class in scikit-learn. It's a crucial part of the explanation because it sets the stage for everything else. We're going to explore what this special type of class does. This statement is correct. I'm focusing on this one because it's about the core functionality that any class using OutlierMixin must have. Think of fit as the training phase of a model, where the model learns from the data, and predict as the phase where you use the trained model to make predictions, here, identifying outliers. Scikit-learn's design emphasizes consistency, and this is a key aspect of it. This is incorrect. The OutlierMixin class doesn't handle data scaling or preprocessing. That's something you have to do beforehand. Prepare your data, scaling, cleaning, and then apply outlier detection. The main point here is that this statement is also correct. OutlierMixin acts as a common interface. It doesn't do the outlier detection itself, but ensures that any class using it follows the same rules. This is why it's a mixin. It's added to other classes to give them a standard set of functions related to outlier detection. This line summarizes a key characteristic of OutlierMixin. It provides a consistent way for different outlier detection algorithms to work within scikit-learn. Think of it like a common language. All algorithms using it speak in the same way, making them easy to use together. As you've probably guessed, this reinforces the previous point that classes using OutlierMixin must have these two methods. These methods are the backbone of any scikit-learn estimator, the models, ensuring consistency in model training and prediction. I see that OutlierMixin acts as an interface. Think of it like a blueprint. It doesn't do the outlier detection itself, but it defines how any outlier detection algorithm should behave when integrated with scikit-learn. This ensures consistency across various algorithms. It's all about establishing a common language, so different outlier detection methods can play nicely together. I've noticed that fit and predict are key methods for any class using the OutlierMixin interface. The fit method is like teaching the algorithm, training it on your data. The predict method then uses that training to make predictions, identifying whether a data point is an outlier or not. This statement is correct. OutlierMixin establishes a standard way for outlier detection algorithms to interact within scikit-learn. It's like a common protocol, ensuring every algorithm speaks the same language. Absolutely correct. Any class that uses OutlierMixin must include fit and predict methods. These are essential for the algorithm to learn from the data, fitting, and then make predictions, detecting outliers. Let's talk about the Sklearn base OutlierMixin class. I consider it a crucial component in scikit-learn, not a concrete outlier detection algorithm itself. It's more of a helpful addition that brings consistency and structure to the library's outlier detection capabilities. This one is false. OutlierMixin itself doesn't contain the actual outlier detection algorithm. It's like a shell that other algorithms can plug into to get the scikit-learn benefits. This is also incorrect. Data scaling and preprocessing are separate steps that usually happen before you even start using an outlier detection algorithm. OutlierMixin does not include these steps. It's important to preprocess your data before using outlier detection to get accurate results. I see this question as asking you to identify the accurate descriptions of the Sklearn base OutlierMixin class. We'll examine each option carefully. This statement is correct. I'm looking at this, and I can tell you that OutlierMixin is designed to be extended by other classes. These classes will need to provide their own implementations of fit for training a model, and predict to identify outliers, to work correctly with OutlierMixin. Absolutely correct. This is the main point. OutlierMixin acts as a blueprint. It doesn't do the outlier detection itself. Instead, it provides a common structure so that different outlier detection algorithms can be used interchangeably within scikit-learn. This refers to a specific class within the scikit-learn library. Scikit-learn is a popular Python library for machine learning. OutlierMixin is a special kind of class, not a specific algorithm itself. This means it doesn't detect outliers directly but provides a structure for classes that do perform outlier detection. In simple words, an interface defines what methods a class must have. A class that uses OutlierMixin must implement its methods. Think of it like a contract. If you use OutlierMixin, you must promise to provide these methods. Incorrect. I've reviewed this statement carefully, and OutlierMixin is not a concrete class, it's a mixin class. A mixin class is a class designed to be included into other classes, providing them with additional functionalities without actually having any specific outlier detection algorithm itself. Nope, this is false. OutlierMixin doesn't handle data preparation steps like scaling or preprocessing. You have to prepare the data yourself before using an outlier detection algorithm that uses the OutlierMixin.